extraordinarily simple, this message. It's so radically simple. I mean, this goes right to the core of it. This is all there is. What's happening? What's happening right now, presently? This is all there is. Just sounds happening, and smells happening, noises, and breathing, and the sound of this voice. The sound of this voice happening. The colours, and the heart beating, and sensations happening. This is it. This is it. So what's left when that seeking, all the seeking of a lifetime, the seeking of a lifetime, when that falls away, what's left is this. And of course you have no words left. You have absolutely no words left for what this is. This is absolutely unknowable. Really, of course, the moment I start speaking about this, the moment the words come out, they're not true. They're not true. And yet it speaks, This is absolute intimacy. Absolute intimacy with this, with what is. Absolute intimacy with what is. You have no way of blocking this out anymore, because there's nobody here to block it out. There's no one here to block out what's happening. There is only what's happening. Hearing is happening. Seeing is happening. And thought comes in, the story comes in, the person comes in and says, I'm hearing, I'm speaking, I'm seeing. That's the illusion. There's no one here speaking, there's no one here seeing, there's no one here listening. There's just this happening. And this can't be understood. This isn't a new concept for you to understand. It's not a belief system. I don't believe any of this. This isn't a belief system. This isn't something that I believe. It's not even an experience. This isn't something that you could experience, because there is no experiencer. There's nobody here who is experiencing. That's the point. And yet, you see, as I said, the moment we talk about this, it's just not true. The moment you say there's no one here, the moment you say there's no one here, the moment you think there's no one here, it's turned into a concept, it's turned into a belief, it's kind of stagnated. There's no one here exists in opposition to there's someone here. No self exists in opposition to self. So it's actually equally untrue to say there's no one here. Really what you're left with is unknowable. There's no way of knowing what this is. I have no way of knowing what this is. You're just left with the absolute mystery of it. And like a newborn baby, like a child, you see it for the first time. Of course you don't see it. These are all just words, it's like we have to use words to talk about it. It's like it's always being seen for the first time. It's so fresh. It's so new and fresh. And of course, even saying that isn't true. These words are just trying to capture, a flavour of it. We're just trying to capture the flavour of this. So all you're left with is this. and the mind says, thought says, the person says, well, this is nothing. This is nothing. That's what the mind says. What do you mean this? This is just a chair. It's just a room. It's so. The mind says this is so ordinary. The mind says this is too ordinary. This can't be it. Because we're so hooked on our ideas of awakening and enlightenment and liberation. It's always out there. It's always in the future. It's always something to get hooked on these ideas, these goals, things for me in the future, things for me to get in the future, liberation in the future, awakening in the future, enlightenment in the future. What we're talking about is already happening. What these words are attempting to do is to point to what's already happening. This isn't about some sort of future event called liberation or some future event called awakening. What's seen is that there's no one here that could awaken. There's no one here that could become enlightened. No one awakens. No one becomes enlightened. It's a story. It's seeking. So when that whole game falls away, that exhausting game of becoming, of seeking, of trying to get somewhere, it's like this is never enough. What's happening is never enough. It's like sitting on a chair, breathing, wearing clothes, talking, with the absolute simplicity and obviousness of what's happening. It's never enough. It's never enough. There's always this search for something more. So when that whole thing, when it drops, when it falls away, all you're left with really is this. And the mind says, or the person says, or the ego says. I mean, there's so many words for this. Mind, thought, ego, concept. I use the words interchangeably. But the story goes that this isn't enough. Well, this is too ordinary. Because what you see, we're still seeking the extraordinary. We call this ordinary because we compare it with something called the extraordinary. In this world of duality, extraordinary versus ordinary, this versus that, up versus down, unenlightened versus enlightened, asleep versus awake, and it goes on and on. So, because we're looking for something called extraordinary, we call this ordinary. So what I'm saying is, when that whole search falls away, when the search for the extraordinary falls away, when the search out there for something out there falls away, then what you're left with, well, you really have no way of knowing what it is. It's certainly not ordinary. Because when the extraordinary falls away, when the search for the extraordinary falls away, the ordinary goes too. So you have no way of calling this ordinary anymore. You have no words left for what this is. And like a newborn baby, you see it for the first time. And it's just love. It's just love. And it's what you are. So you're left with absolutely nothing in a sense. In a sense, this is absolutely nothing. No thing, nothing. And what's seen finally is that this nothing, this nothing is everything. This is everything. This is life happening.